在个别领域。
So China is leading some of the innovations in the world, such as digital payment and e-payment. Within a very short period of time, our mobile payment has become so developed that simply with a smartphone, you don't need to carry any cash. You can go to the most remote corner of China to pay for products and services. So in this process, one of the most important tools is UNPay. In the early stage of UNPay development, Mr. Zhang was a key member of a team, and he was the first one to make UNPay being able to offer to C services. Now we're using our smartphone to make many payments, thanks to Zhenghua. Now, his very young entrepreneurial company is rolling out such services to other geographies, to over 200 countries and regions with 500 payment channels. Is UNPay. Zhenghua, in the case of UNPay, whether it is to B or to C, how did you manage to expand so fast? What's the secret recipe behind your success? Yes, it's my great pleasure to talk to you about UNPay. And I was in the payment industry very early on. I have had over a decade of experience in this industry. For most of the 2B and 2C payment platforms, I was involved. And today, around the world, when we are expanding our business, we have identified the following growth drivers. First, digital economy or digitalization of the global economies. Second, the Chinese leadership in electronic and mobile payment. With those two conditions in place, my team is a first-class team with payment expertise. We have developed a new system called ARC. It can be rapidly deployed to other countries and regions.
From this angle, we could see sometimes the technology at the back plays an important role. Mr. Shaofeng, when I look at his background, I think the way we like to describe him, he understands both technology and finance. After graduating from Tsinghua University, he worked at IBM and Oracle with a very strong technical background. He depends on first software as a service, data as software. His company is focusing on using big data, AI, and other rules to provide for financial institutions whole life cycle solutions. So we invite him to talk to us from the top technology user to comment on the mobile payment situation. So can you just comment on the company of UNPay? Thank you very much. A few words about my company. We are a platform of fintech using big data and AI algorithm to empower both the supply side and the demand side. Insurance companies, banks, and the demand side refers to small and medium-sized companies, and also the general public. The core business of ours is to use science technology to help the financial institutions to quickly, more efficiently, to examine the transaction risks. For example, you swipe your credit card, whether there's fraud, applicants of credit card, whether or not there's some bad guys, or high-risk people, and what kind of funding we should be providing to him, at what interest rate. So this also holds true for the insurance companies, differentiated pricing to help the financial institution. We empower the financial institution, but also the general public and consumers of financial institutions to recommend credit card and credit products, etc., etc. So we are a platform. Every day we help financial institutions to examine potential transactions, like several millions transactions working with several thousand financial institutions, big banks, and also small financial companies. We are collaborating with all those companies. So as for your question, I'm very much impressed because, for example, in China, we have a huge customer base, small, medium-sized companies, micro companies, great number, also the general public. In the process of this, we have many problems with efficiency and risks. For example, the cashless payment. It may involve some of the bad guys. I have been cheated by some people. I didn't know who managed to swipe my credit card. Through AI and big data, we can identify the problem. Who was in whose gang, so to speak. So once the credit card was swiped, whether or not the bad guy was connected with a gang, which we already had some information. So we can help the big financial institutions to find some of the leads and clues. One making payment, basically, people have money on their account. The other type is a credit payment. It's like a credit. So for credit payment, the risks are greater because after that you have to return the money to the financial institutions. So what we have to do is to very quickly, within a few seconds, tell the institution whether or not you're supposed to provide credit quota to him or her. So the risks are very high. So we have to be very careful. So your two companies, I compare your two companies, Zhenhua's company in developing the business will keep a lot of valuable data. For Xiaofeng, your company is using the big data to find out the inherent value. There is an issue we have to face altogether, the security of financial institutions, financial information and the risks, the privacy. So I'd like to ask each of you two questions. The first one, in the process of doing that, your company, what is the basic principles? What do you do? What you do not do? What is the boundary between the two? Second, to guarantee, to ensure, to be loyal to this principle, what are your biggest challenges? So Xiaofeng, maybe you have the floor first, because you're dealing with the data all the time. Thank you. This is a very good and challenging question. I asked myself many times the same question. To answer your question, we need to give the right decision-making right of data to the consumers, to the users. All the companies store customers' data. But when customers ask you to delete, you have to do that. You have to delete. That's it. So each time you collect the data of your customers or use them, do you know whether or not the customer know that? Did you create value for them? For example, in the security, anti-fraud of financial information, the customer in obtaining financial services and in privacy, actually there's some conflict between the two. You want the financial institution to believe you're a good guy, so you have to give up some of the privacy. You have to tell financial institution what kind of people you are, what are your historical records. Obtaining the permission of the customer, you can use big data or small data to help financial institution to assess the quality of this customer. But if the customer says, I would rather give up this service financial institutions, I do not want to disclose my privacy. So this is another thing. So what about Zhenghua? So the key point here, I believe, first of all the data-related industry, they have to be very careful in looking at the data. For us, UNPay, from very start, we are an international company. We started our business overseas, and then we return gradually to China. In the process, we follow the global standard or code of conduct or Western financial standards in doing to manage and store the data. As we mentioned, you have to respect about the data privacy and the security, and also for the use of the data for customers. They do not hope to see that you use their made public their data, but they hope when needed, you can provide convenient services. So we need to do a better job coping with the demand of the customers. There's another issue I'd like to ask Xiaofeng. People are saying, there's a saying like, China in the innovation of finance, good athletes are very tired. They have to do rating, they have to do pricing, they have to do a lot of things. Also, they have to do something, play the role of the judge, umpire. But some unresponsible people, find it pretty relaxed and live a better life. So, Xiaofeng, maybe you can comment on this from what you do in your daily life. How do you look at this issue? Is it possible you can change this situation? I think in China, internet finance development, this is an outstanding problem. The reason behind the occurrence of the issue is that some infrastructure is not mature in China for financial industry. For example, payment. Also, the credit system data is also very important for the infrastructure. When the infrastructure is not complete, you want to do a good job. So you are forced to play the roles of both the athlete and the judge or umpire. For example, Ali has the same thing. It has a bank, credit company, insurance company, and security brokers. So there are a lot of controversies about what Ali do. But with for my company, we are focusing only on infrastructure. We do not produce our own financial products. We only help financial institutions to judge, to assess each of the transactions or application, the risks, and to promote the reputation and to acquire customers. I think this issue will be getting better and better. A healthy ecosystem. We should have a clear division of labor. Some should focus on your financial products, designing your good products, and some other companies should focus on designing the infrastructure. We should have a good division of labor in order to have a high efficiency. So gradually, maybe you can change this unhealthy ecosystem back to a good one. Right. At the early stage, very probably we can have something of the bad companies to drive out of the market, the good ones. They do not abide by the standards. Some of the companies at the early stage, the competition is very fierce. Sometimes we lost something, but a company like us, we can have a long-term development object. So at the end of the day, everything will return to the healthy status with a very good, reasonable division of labor. Now comes a question for Zhenghua. There's a case a few years ago, Fortune reported a very interesting commercial business story. 10 years ago, in the UK and Kenya, two telecom companies jointly launched a mobile payment business. At the beginning, this was to support Kenyan banking, the customer outside of the banking sector to make payment. But before that, most of the people and households in family, put their money, under their pillow, so to speak. But this innovation, as a result, explosive development, went beyond the imagination of everybody, accounting for the transaction volume on the platform, accounting for 42% of the GDP of Kenya. So when we look at some of the small financial innovation, it could change the entire economy. So some good companies, for example, Zhenhua's company, are beginning to go overseas, go global. So maybe you could say something about this. When you're using this technology and services to go global, are you capable of influencing the world one way or another? Thank you very much for that case. I think the development of the world is very interesting. Each time when there's a major breakthrough of an industry, it is connected with the upgrade of an industry. Today's financial industry upgrade, I think we usher in a new era. At the beginning, it's a barter trade and paper money and traditional banking system. But this is the fourth era. The entire world is embracing digital wallet. But right now, the leading country is China. In the process of this, you'll find another opportunity, which is traditional. Many countries, 60% of the countries, are still using cash in making payment. So, and whether or not they go directly to 3.0 or 4.0, so maybe people can directly go to a 4.0 era of digital payment, because the efficiency will be higher, and also it could, in a better way, help the country to manage information in a digital way. When we see this opportunity here, sometimes we say you can now find a company which got, a very excellent platform making this payment. So we're the first company empowering the payment capability. We're not just covering the entire world. The second opportunity is it will need something that you could bring their business to more countries. So that is also important. So we empower other companies. We also provide a global network for payment in a global arena. So the most important thing for us is that we can help the entire world company who can embrace the payment 4.0 era companies. So enable everybody in trade, funding, and other services. The efficiency will be much higher. So this is very, very valuable. Thank you very much. So we have already had 20 minutes. I think we have to wrap up here. Thank you very much, Shaofeng. Thank you very much, Zhenghua. I look forward that you will maintain this fast growth momentum to change commerce, change our life with science and technology. Thank you so much.